Okay, so welcome everybody. We're so excited today to have the opportunity to be together. As you can see, I'm not Elaine. She's at a seminar in California with her husband, but just want to welcome each one of you and share with you how excited I am to have this opportunity. Maura was able to record the Level Up conference for us, and so today we're going to get to hear from Kacy Schloss, who is, along with her husband, they're both pharmacists in Kansas City. I actually got to hear this one live when she was presenting it, and it is phenomenal. So, and thank you so much, Maura, for doing this for us. And so we're going to watch her presentation, and then hopefully we'll have time to do some discussion afterwards. So again, welcome everybody, and Maura, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Okay, here we go.
With every star, we are born again.
Well, we have an incredible lineup of healthcare providers that are all ready to pour into you and to share why they said yes to Juice Plus, what it's been doing for them, their family, and their patients. Our first speaker is a pharmacist, Kacy Schloss. Kacy graduated with a doctorate degree in pharmacy. Her resume includes pharmacy manager, clinical point person, and compliance field evaluator for the greater St. Louis and surrounding area, leading the way for implementing clinical programs in the pharmacy world. Having battled autoimmune disease, she became passionate about prevention, teaching how to heal the body through nutrition and lifestyle. Kacy and her husband, Chris, who is also a pharmacist, have 2 children, and they are excited about changing generational health. Please welcome Dr. Kacy Schloss.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. This is so incredible. So great to see you all. Well, this information that you're going to hear this morning, it was information like this that brought me to Juice Plus 8 years ago. The company's commitment to quality and putting that quality to the test. Their commitment to research at the highest level. And their commitment to health and solving everyday problems for people like me and families like mine made me want to be a part of what this company was doing. And I'm still proud today to be a part of what the Juice Plus company continues to do. 12 years ago, I became a pharmacist for one reason: to help people with their health. I managed a busy pharmacy in the small town I grew up in, the same pharmacy that 4 generations of my family had used. And pretty quickly, I realized I was sending my patients home with grocery bags full of medications every month. And something about that experience makes you think a little deeper about health and what are the factors that promote good health and vice versa. And then I started to think about my own journey with my physical health and what I had gone through with an autoimmune disorder, being diagnosed when I was 14 years old. And I could relate to my patients that I was seeing frequently in my pharmacy. And suddenly all of that clinical knowledge I gained in pharmacy school had names and faces. And that experience will make a person take a deeper dive into those kinds of questions like, what is good health really about? What are the things that make a person healthy? And most importantly for me at the time, what are the things that I could be doing to set my family up for success in the way of physical health? Because one of my greatest desires at that time in life was to have a healthy family. So after working long days in the community pharmacy, I'd go home and I'd spend time looking at research. I was looking at scientific published data, sometimes from massive meta-analyses, all pointing in one direction: nutrition. And specifically, the statistically significant protective effect of fruits and vegetables on all body systems. And I wish, that we had I wish I had the Juice Plus Science Institute, which we have today, to be able to reference that because it's a one-stop shop. But I was looking in all kinds of different sites. But what I realized is for us, it came down to nutrition. You know, we were exercising, we were getting good rest, we were getting sunlight when we could. But what needed to change in my life at that time was nutrition. And specifically, I knew I needed a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, and not just sometimes, but every single day. So we did what any reasonable pharmacist would do after looking at data and being compelled to make a change. We went out and we bought a $400 juicer. And my husband would drive about an hour each way to get the highest quality produce around us. And we were spending about $90 every 5 days. That's about $18 a day just for our ingredients. And this was 10 years ago. Imagine what that would be today. We were spending about an hour in our kitchen to prep and wash and juice and drink and then clean the juicer just to start our day. But that's what we were doing because we had learned, we knew then the importance of everyday nutrition from a variety of fruits and vegetables. See, I had learned about the power of the pharmacy with an F and how the world's best pharmacy actually exists inside each and every single one of us. It's how we were created. You know, we might not realize it, but our bodies are constantly organizing and carrying out these complex operations to maintain our health. And most of our internal functions occur outside of our awareness. You know, for instance, we don't have to put a lot of effort into doing things like digesting our food or filtering our blood. And under most circumstances, our bodies can manage blood clots and fight off infections and repair their organs with their own natural chemicals. And taking full advantage of our body's internal pharmacy is the most effective way to care for our health. And it doesn't require us to make a lot of complex decisions, like I said, but our internal pharmacy does have some caveats for operating well. And first and foremost, a well-functioning pharmacy requires good nutrition, like I said. And that can look different for each person, but basically it involves eating foods as close to their natural source as possible. And there's literally hundreds of examples out there that I could give you, but I'll just give you one today, and it's flavonoids, like what you see on this picture. And it's a class of polyphenols found in pomegranates and grapes and berries. It's the anthocyanins in them that give them the beautiful colors. And these have been found to have an inverse relationship with cardiovascular disease. So in other words, the more you're going to get in your diet, the lower your risk of cardiovascular disease. They decrease blood pressure, they're anti-inflammatory, they relax the arteries. So it's the concept, food is medicine. And I got excited about that. And it's the compounds in these plants that activate our internal pharmacies. So when I was introduced to Juice Plus, with everything that I had learned and my background in juicing, it made so much sense. Just a few minutes of looking at it closely and with an open mind, and I was completely blown away. I had never seen a product with this breadth of clinical research, published in 31 scientific journals. That's incredible. And then you have all the different benefits is shown. We're talking a 66% reduction in DNA damage, positively influencing over 1,600 genes over 8 weeks, providing antioxidant protection by up to a 528% increase in beta carotene over 28 days, improving circulatory performance by decreasing constriction after an unhealthy meal, which we cannot always avoid, right? It's not about being perfect. Improved immune function from students to the elderly, supporting metabolic health by enhancing insulin sensitivity, increasing lean body mass in adults, improving cognitive function, improved gut health, 21 different studies proving Juice Plus has excellent bioavailability, which is an increase in the micronutrients, the phytonutrients. Those are the vitamins, the carotenoids, the polyphenols that our bodies desperately need to thrive. And really, that's just scratching the surface. You can access all of the research on juiceplus.com, but it's the highest quality. It's safe, proven effective, and a company that's committed to continued improvement. So from this pharmacist's perspective, I am confident I can recommend it to every family. It's functional food, and it's offering solutions to give families daily nutritional support to bridge the gap that we have in our diets. But you know, as a wife and a mom and a sister and a friend, let's talk about how this plays out in real life, because what I began to see in myself and those that I love really changed the game for me. So when we talk about health, it really is a spectrum, right? So we have, from disease and illness down on this end of the spectrum, all the way to this end, which is optimal health, and everything else all in between. And I found myself at one point in my life down here on this end of the spectrum, which maybe some of you can relate to. But today I am so grateful to be much closer to this end of the spectrum. So most people are probably pretty, surprised to learn that at one point in my life, I had 3 spleens. You're only supposed to have 1. And I went from 3 to 0, which left me with a compromised immune system. And it had me, being prone to getting sick often and for prolonged periods of time. And that was just something that I was dealing with, and especially, working in the pharmacy and being exposed to sick people and all these different things that were coming in. But with making small changes every day and adding Juice Plus to my diet for over a decade now, I am healthier than I've ever been. And like I said, much closer to this end of the spectrum. And so what I've learned is that food is a weapon, and it can be used as either a weapon of mass destruction or a weapon of mass vitality, and that's the truth. And my husband, he had battled with allergies for his entire life, but he noticed after just a few months that his immune system was stronger and it functioning better than ever, and we're so grateful for that. And so for us, it's been this systemic advantage, the conditioning impact of these foods that has compounded over time and made a massive difference in our health. And it's no surprise because we have 4 different published clinical studies proving that Juice Plus supports the immune system. So when I first learned about Juice Plus, we didn't have our own kids yet. But when I learned about the Healthy Starts for Families program and that we could sponsor a child for free, I immediately thought of my niece, Josie. She was 5 years old at the time, and she had struggled with her respiratory health ever since infancy. And I was so grateful that every time my Juice Plus came in, I could give Josie her Juice Plus as well. Today, she's 15 years old, and she's an elite high school athlete. She's grown to be fit, healthy, and strong. And we know that for her, as an athlete undergoing intense exercise consistently, those levels of inflammation and oxidative stress increase. But we know from the Juice Plus research that the capsules attenuate the increase in the markers of oxidative stress after exercise, even for up to 30 hours after exercise. That's incredible. Talk about a performance advantage. So as a sophomore in high school today, Josie is aware of how food impacts her body, what it means to fuel well, and she loves taking her Juice Plus every single day. She takes all 4 blends of her Essentials capsules and drinks her Complete or Perform every day. I mentioned earlier that one of my greatest desires years ago was to have a healthy family. And so getting on Juice Plus before getting pregnant and taking it every day during pregnancy was important to me because I knew I wanted that nutrition to condition my body and to help nourish our growing babies. From 2 pharmacist perspectives, my husband and I loved seeing over 20 published clinical studies proving that bioavailability that I mentioned earlier, which is a measure of how much of an ingested substance gets into the bloodstream in the cells. And we have the studies proving the bioavailability from children to the elderly. And in my opinion, there is no more important of a time to nourish well. I once heard one of my favorite obstetricians say that what a mom eats during her pregnancy can affect her child's future children. So once our babies were getting a little older and starting to eat solids around 6 months of age, we started to open up the capsules and pour the capsule powders either directly into their mouths or right onto their food. And we looked at it as a way of training taste, literally training their taste buds to start to desire, the healthier foods by changing their microbiota. There is that deep connection between the gut and the brain. And we're so grateful that our children have acquired a healthy palate, totally different than what it looked like for me growing up. And the difference that we've seen in just one generation from my husband and myself to our children is incredible. And we really do attribute this to that one simple change of starting the Juice Plus habit early on. And then when our kids were about a year old, we were giving them the complete every day. And before they could swallow their capsules, which they both do now, we would just open up their capsules or poke a hole in the omega and just pour the powder and the omega oil right into their complete and start every day with that for breakfast. Today, they are 8 and 6 years old, and they know about nutrition, which is incredible to see that for young children. They've grown up in this community, they've learned from this community, and they know more about nutrition than I did in my 20s. And speaking of kids, I love talking about this because one of my favorite things is that Healthy Starts for Families program, where children can be sponsored with an adult order. And for over 20 years now, over 1.5 million families worldwide have participated in this program, and they're documenting how their families are making the shift toward better health. I absolutely love these results. So look at this. Kids are consuming less fast food and soda. They're visiting the doctor less. They're eating more fruits and vegetables. They're missing fewer days of school. They're drinking more water. And my personal favorite, they're taking fewer over-the-counter and/or prescription drugs. That is awesome. And again, you can access all of that at juiceplus.com. But this right here is daily nutrition support for the whole family. This tells me right here, when you look at this data, this tells me we need to be out there getting this in as many households as possible, in as many children's bodies as we can. Think about it. Think about teaching these kids today about nutritional habits, the difference that that's going to make, not only for them now, but when they're adults and for generations to come. So exciting. So the last story I want to share with you today is the most recent of our 8-year journey, and it's about my dad. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in July of 2021, and the first decision that he made after the doctors left his hospital room giving us the news was to finally get started on Juice Plus. He underwent a 10-hour surgery, to try to remove as much of the cancer as they could. And he had so much trouble, even before the surgery, being able to keep any food or any liquids down. But we were so grateful to have the complete to help sustain him leading up to the surgery. And after the surgery, he came home to live with us so we could help take care of him. And he was not doing well. And even though they weren't able to remove all of the cancer, it had already spread to his lymphatic system. But basically through this surgery, they reworked his entire GI tract. And at this point, at our home, we couldn't even get him to take sips of water. He couldn't even tolerate it. And it was at that moment that I finally understood the purpose of that juicing journey all those years before, because I remembered he had a feeding tube and I could work with that, right? So I dug out that juicer and I started juicing fresh fruits and vegetables for him and opening up his plant capsules and the omegas and pouring them into his juices and then giving it to him through his feeding tube in that way. And the reason I did this is because I wanted my dad to have quality of life. Right? I wanted for whatever time he had left for him to feel as good as he could and to be able to do the things that he wanted to do. So by day 2, I was able to add complete into the mixture and put that into his feeding tube as well. And after 2 days of this regimen, he got up off of our couch and walked all the way out to the end of our field and back. That's about 100 yards. 2 days. That right there is the power of the pharmacy. That's the power of the pharmacy. So he slowly recovered from that surgery, and His home health nurse that was coming every day told us that even at 69 years old and having been a smoker for his whole life, that he had recovered better than any patient she had ever cared for in over 20 years of caring for patients with that specific type of surgery. Yep, pretty amazing. So he was able to go home eventually and go hunting that winter and spend some really great quality time with us through the holidays. And in November of that year, we got this text from my dad telling us in our group chat about how grateful he was for his Juice Plus. And we were so grateful to get that message and to be able to support him in that way. You know, a lot of people would tell you that at that point with that poor of a prognosis, what's it worth? And I say, everything. It's never too early and it's never too late to invest in your nutrition. Like I said, it's always worth it. And I wanted to give him the quality of life, the best quality of life that he could possibly have for the rest of the time that he had. And I believe that's what we were able to give him. You know, it was pretty incredible. He even experienced his eyesight, his blood pressure, his blood sugar improving, even despite everything he had been battling. We lost my dad in March of last year, right after his 70th birthday, about 8 months after his diagnosis. But I tell his story because I know if he were sitting here today, he would want you to know. Remember, it's never too early and it's never too late to invest in your nutrition. So for us, Juice Plus is a constant. It's the good during the good times and it's the good during the hard times. In my opinion, one of the biggest problems we have with our health is directly related to our nutrition. And after what I had learned about the power of the food at the end of our forks, I spent quite a lot of time as a pharmacist counseling patients and encouraging them to make lifestyle changes. But the problem is most people can't or won't do it. But what I love about Juice Plus is that it's simple, it's affordable, it's effective, it's an easy solution for the whole family. It's one that anyone can do. And by the way, it's the most thoroughly researched nutritional product in the world. Yes, so the research is a differentiator for sure. But when you see the research come to life in those you love and the people that you care about, it opens your eyes to the mission. And a person on a mission can make a big difference. But a group of people together on a mission can change the world. We are the leader in plant-based nutrition here at Juice Plus. We are. And we're only continuing to get better. So my charge for all of us here today, everybody out there, is let's go out there and make Juice Plus a household name. Thank you.
With every star, we are born again.
Okie dokie. That was it. So
Okay, yes. Thank you so much, Maura. Oh, wasn't that phenomenal? I'm so excited. So I would love to hear from some of you or any of you what stood out to you from that presentation.
I could go.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things that stood out was my experience with my own dad. And for a lot of reasons I won't go into, I didn't share Juice Plus with him until the day he went on hospice.
Mm.
He was 95. He was in late stage Alzheimer's. And if anybody's familiar with Alzheimer's, one of the last stages is you can't hold up your head.
Mm.
He was having trouble finding the words, but I walked into his memory care home and he was almost non-communicative. And he usually had a good appetite and he wasn't hungry. And my heart sank. You know you're going to get there one day, but you're never ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't care what anybody thinks. If not now, when?
Mm-hmm.
And I got the doctor that was over the medical program at the memory care home to agree to let the med techs give him Juice Plus, because you kind of have to go through the politics.
Mm-hmm.
I brought it there. he loved the chocolate shakes. So what his med tech did, and she was the only one that he would trust to even take a shower, but that's another whole story. She opened up the fruit, vegetable, and berry powders and put them in his chocolate shake. Gave him one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I was going in and out visiting him. And in less than 3 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, I walked into his memory care home. Now he's 95. He's joking with his caregivers.
Aw.
He's shuffling around in his wheelchair and his appetite is back. I was in tears all over again. You know, you
Sure.
feel like you're on a roller coaster.
Mhm.
And I'm going, my goodness, if it can do that much, tech said if she didn't know for sure, knowing what she did, that Juice Plus was the only difference in those 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, she never would have believed it. And she went on it herself. And all I could think of is, what if, what if he had started years before? Could it have reversed the disease? Would it have stopped it in its tracks?
Mhm.
With our research, we know with our DNA that our genes get turned on and off on a regular basis as our cells die off and regenerate based on what we feed it. I'm a survivor of 3 kinds of cancer, and not once did a doctor ever ask me what my diet was like. And I would have been defensive saying it's perfectly okay, but it was the standard American diet, the SAD that we keep hearing about.
Mhm.
And I'm a chaplain. I've spent years visiting sick people, but you never see kids unless there was an auto accident out the door. And now we have hospitals with just for sick kids with cancer.
Mhm.
So I know for sure now, and my siblings can know, although they still don't quite believe it, that they don't have to assume that that's going to be in their future, whether it's heart disease, cancer, or Alzheimer's, because we have the power to change.
Mhm.
And it's
true.
just one simple change. And God gave us the Garden of Eden with all the fruits, the vegetables, the berries, the grains, and said that it was good. And plants have the power to heal. I am so thankful for Juice Plus. For these reasons and so many more, I will never go without.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh my gosh, Dale, that was really powerful. Thank you. So who else would like to share? Okay, Nadia?
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
I was able to also see Kacy in Atlanta, and I was really impressed by her back then as well.
Mhm.
And, being relatively new to Juice Plus and the company, I'm still so floored about the number of physicians and medical professionals who are, linking arms with this company. I think this is completely unprecedented. And I am so happy that Juice Plus is conducting all these clinical studies, because this is how physicians think. And this is what they are looking for. They can't go on anecdotal evidence. And so I think this is just so powerful as a tool for us to have as a resource when we talk to individuals about it. But I also think that we have wonderful tools available to reach out to practitioners, and make them aware of Juice Plus, because I know that a lot of them don't even know that Juice Plus even exists. So I recently had a quick conversation with a physician, and she's like, "What is Juice Plus?" I said, "Well, next time I come in, I'll bring some information." And she's like, "Oh, I thought you'd bring in some samples." Of course, I'll be doing that, right?
Exactly. Well, and actually, Dr. Trin Tran, who was the rheumatologist on our team, shared, she'd been a rheumatologist, I think, for 18 years at that point. And she was just so overwhelmed with the safety of Juice Plus. She was dealing with actually an autoimmune disease herself, and spoke for us at a couple different presentations that we had. And that's what she just was always talking about, is, that it was something that she was looking for forever. And it was because one of her patients, who was a girl who was on our team, became a person on our team, just the dramatic difference in her health after 10 years within less than 2 months. It's just amazing. And I think it's this, just that we know what it is, but just the safety of it is what appeals to a lot of doctors too, because, they it's just food. That's my constant reframing of all of it is it's just food, and your
Yeah,
bodies know
right.
what to do with it. But thank you so
Absolutely.
much for sharing.
Yeah, and if you could make that link available, please, I would really
Yes,
appreciate
we
it.
will. We
Thank you.
will, but soon we'll, like I said, we'll have to get it on Elaine's YouTube, but I can't wait either. After I watched it the first time, I thought I was going to be able to share it then. And I told like 3 people, wait until you hear this. And I'm like, it's gonna be a long wait. That was a couple of weeks ago, but yes, I'm excited. So thank you so much for sharing. Okay, Sandy's got her hand up. I love that.
Just like school. Call
Yeah,
me,
exactly.
call me, call me. Well, first of all, I love the Kacy Schloss story. And of course, the story about her dad gets me every time because of my situation with my dad. But hi, Isla.
This is our
The
baby.
thing I love about one of the things she said is that it's never too early and it's never too late to start doing something about your health. And I know that. In fact, just last week, one of my newest customers, an older lady, and I think she was thinking, it's too late. And she told me, she said, Sandy, she said, since I started taking Juice Plus, she said, I'm noticing changes that I'm making in lots of areas in my life. And I said, congratulations and welcome to the club. That's exactly what Juice Plus inspires us to do. And on the other end of the spectrum, I have 2 grandbabies that are Juice Plus babies. And mommy does the same thing with squirting the omega oils in their mouths. And the older one is old enough to take the chews now. And so anyway, both ends of the spectrum, it's never too early and it's never too late.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'd like to introduce our newest Juice Plus baby. This is Isla Lucia, and she's my great niece. And this is what I get to do. Not often enough, but
She's
and when you see her
beautiful.
handsome dad, you'll understand why she's so there, and her mother, they're movie stars.
Brenda, she's beautiful.
Thank you.
He sure is.
Yeah. All right, I love this. Thank you so much for sharing, Sandy. Anyone else? I can only see Myra. Mara, can you see if anyone else has their hand up? Because I can only see like 4 names.
Okay. Not at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. So Kathy Bly,
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Good.
Hey.
Karen Farrell after.
Okay, great.
I loved what she said. Food is a weapon used for mass destruction or mass vitality.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I thought that was such a great statement from, that we can use. I loved it.
Thank you, Kathy. I didn't write that one down, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Karen?
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback off what you were talking about with Dr. Tran. I
Mhm.
too was one of her patients, and I don't think you were talking about me. I think you were talking about,
Yeah.
okay, the other girl. Anyway, I also benefited, and I got off of $7,000 a month in medications, thanks to her suggestion.
$7,000 a month.
A month. Yeah. Well, part of that was because I was allergic to the chemo that she was on, and I had to have admin the medicine to counteract that.
Mhm.
So, and then that cost also with the nurse to do it. So that added up, all of it added up to about 7,000 a month on the 10 meds that I was on. And so there is power in fruits and vegetables, and I shout it from the rooftops every day. And I know, Elaine, you're nodding your head. You're the same way, baby. It's just, we have a powerful gift in this Juice Plus product.
We sure do. Thank you so much for sharing.
Anybody else?
I was just thinking of another thing too. I had a knee replacement last April,
Mhm.
And I doubled up on my Juice Plus ahead of time because I'd seen all the research that talks about how it helps with recovery with these athletes.
Hey,
But it also applies when you
Freeze
have
real quick.
surgery. And
Go ahead.
what I did was I tried to double up. I took 4 of all my capsules for the month before my surgery. And within 8 weeks, I was not only able to pivot my knee, but go back to taking dance classes. And my doctor said, for someone in my demographic, and that was the first time anybody had talked about demographics, I didn't know whether to be flattered or
I
offended.
hear you.
And he said he could not believe how well I recovered. And I have to give God the glory. My physical therapy that I thought it was going to kill me. And then the nutrition that helped support it all, to put it all together.
That's so cool. And I had the same situation. I had back-to-back surgeries in 2019 and 2020. I am literally fused from the second vertebrae all the way down. But my doctor, after the first surgery a year later, when I really messed up my back, he said, well, you were my star patient last year. Let's do it again. And I took Juice Plus, I think 3 times a day before the surgery and 4 times a day for the first month afterwards. And at my 1-month checkup, he said I was 4 to 6 months ahead of where I should be. And at my second month, he said I was a year healed. And the second surgery that I had, 2 weeks to the day after the surgery, I flew to, we already had a trip to Holy Lands that we had paid for, and I was panicked about not getting to go. And I, 3 weeks to the day, when I stepped off the plane, I never had a minute's pain the whole 10 days we were in the Holy Lands. I walked 10 miles every day and have had no residual effects from it all. So your body knows what to do with food. And he was absolutely stunned, the doctor. So I'm in the process of talking with him too.
You know, it's hard because we're not supposed to make health claims.
I know.
But how in the world can you not believe that food is healing?
Yeah. Well, I always say it's just like my Christian faith. You can deny everything but my experience. And you know, it's the same thing with Juice Plus. You can deny whatever you want, but you know, I just know what the Lord's done, you know, used Juice Plus to do. And he's used, because I was really sick too, 20 years in March. And I was really sick too. And he has used the Juice Plus, the product and the business, to totally restore every part of my life. So I'm pretty passionate about it.
Hey, Brenda, I think Douglas wanted to say something.
Oh, please. That would be awesome.
Take off mute.
Okay, how's that?
That's good. There you go.
Well, I don't have great stories like that, but you know, going to the dentist, which I've had to do a lot this month, was never a pleasant experience. Because I remember years back, you know, I'd be sitting in the chair and he'd go, well, you know, you need to have some deep cleaning here. And I'm going, the next day I'm over there, and I mean, blood all over the place. I mean, it's like bleeding, and it's like, it's miserable. And it's because I don't take care of myself. But lately, this last week, I went to the dentist to have my dentist cleaned. Not one drop of blood.
Isn't that amazing?
I contribute that to Juice Plus is repairing my gums, and I can imagine what it's doing to the rest of my body. You know, so like, and now it's not that bad, and I have implants and all kind of other stuff done, and I'm not going to be as afraid as I was before, knowing that my recovery is going to be so much better.
Absolutely.
So it's just like Dale was saying, how can you not say that Juice Plus is tremendous in recovery, and not only the thoughts in my mind that Juice Plus, that is medicine. Food is my medicine. And a lot of people, I mean, let's look at TV right now with liposuction and, you know, natural, all these get quick healthy schemes that are out there that cost so much. I love that. The first thing she said was she was a juicer and she went and bought a $400 juice machine and then $18 a day for the produce. And all the work it takes to do that, I'm going, come on. It wouldn't be simple just to take these 8 capsules. And you're done in 10 minutes. I mean, it's like,
Exactly. I bought a juicer once and I think I used it twice, and then it took me a week to clean it up enough to send it all back. That was before Juice Plus came. So I'm pretty passionate about it too. And I
yeah,
love
I mean,
it.
yeah,
You
take
can't-
2 hours to make a breakfast, right?
Exactly. And you can't overdose fruits and vegetables. Our bodies know what to keep and what to get rid of. So there's no
Yeah.
downside to Juice Plus.
Let Juice Plus do all the work for me. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, Doug.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
That reminds me of a funny story. My kids' dogs got into the chewables that the kids are supposed to be eating that I brought as a gift when I visited them. They ate the whole thing up like in 3 minutes, like nobody ever fed them. And they're galloping around, no side effects at all. It's great for pets too, not just
Yeah.
kids.
We actually, when we first started 20 years ago, we had we had Dog Plus and Cat Plus. They made food for animals. And
Really?
man, it was powerful. There's lots of animal stories, health recovery stories on Juice Plus.
Mhm.
too.
And the fruits and vegetable gummies are good for pets, right? Not the berries. Is that right?
Right. But then there are people that give them all. So I don't do any recommendations for fruit for Juice Plus with animals. I know nothing about it, but I know lots of people have stories. Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
take the
Elaine?
capsules in the morning, but I use the chewables and I turn it into a trail mix.
Mm.
And I add peanuts and the cranberries, the dried cranberries, sometimes chocolate covered raisins and nuts, mix them up and
Sounds
put them in
good.
Ziploc bags.
Mhm.
And then I can just take my shake in a Ziploc bag with me when I'm driving around. And I never go to, or hardly ever go to a fast food place ever.
I think Jelaine has something she'd like to share. as well.
I have a most recent testimony, I would say, that is attributed to Juice Plus.
She loves sticking her hands.
For those of you who know, my husband has been in the hospital and he had a surgery January 10th. So we're almost into a month of fighting through this. And he developed a bacterial infection. He had stones out, and because of the modalities that they use, the tubing and the stents and everything, when they pulled him out, he ended up with a bacterial infection that just spread through his entire body very fast. It was less than 48 hours. It was in his bladder, his kidneys, his urine, and in his blood. So with all the prayers of all the family and friends that we have, we attribute his ability to be home, and he never went septic. And with Juice Plus, because he never stopped having the fruits and vegetables flowing through his system. And I think that kept him, because he was walking that line for some time where, we really had to call out some real prayer warriors, because they were worried as fast as that was traveling that he was going to go septic.
Wow.
So, yep. So thank goodness to Juice Plus and prayer. So that's most recent. He is home. He's on antibiotics. We're still pumping in those Juice Plus things so that he can finish healing. So yeah, we're thankful for Juice Plus. That's our most recent testimony.
Elaine, did you guys increase his Juice Plus at all during that time period?
He's always been on he takes it 2 times a day. So he takes it twice a day anyway, because of his other issues that he has. So we kept him on the 2-time-a-day regimen. And
So are you talking about 2 of each capsule 2 times a day?
Yeah, so in the morning he would take it, and then in the afternoon he would take another dose. So he's been on that for years now, because we constantly fight his precancer cells. And so we've been able to keep those at bay. And, we always are in prayer about that, because he is an esophageal cancer survivor that only back when he had it, 3 to 5% of them survived. Now they've got it to 5 to 7, 17 years later. That's about the extent of their progress for esophageal cancer. So he's still here. He was supposed to be dead within like 6 months of him. Well, actually, they gave him 3 of him being diagnosed. And 17 years later, he's still here. So we pump in that Juice Plus and keep him on it.
Absolutely. Praise God. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's
Excellent.
awesome.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you so much. So I think we want to honor everybody's time, but thank you so much for joining us. Maura, especially thank you so much for doing this. It's so powerful. And we're excited to have Elaine back with us next week. And we'll make sure that as soon as we can, we'll get this up on YouTube. So you guys have a blessed week, and we'll look forward to being together again next Monday. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everybody. Have a great day.
Have
You
a great
too.
week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.